The morning arrives with that cutting cold characteristic of New England, the kind that penetrates to the bone before you even realize it. The air is motionless, dense, heavy with frozen moisture. The sky remains pale, almost white, without a single cloud to break the monotony. It's the type of day when silence seems heavier, more present. The pond at the edge of town lies beneath a thin layer of irregular ice, gray at the edges, darker in the center where water still resists. Thomas Hartwell is 91 years old. His spine is curved by time and the weight of decades of manual labor. His shoulders, once broad and strong, now slope forward as if carrying something invisible. He walks slowly along the gravel path that circles the pond, each step measured, deliberate. The cane in his left hand isn't just support. It's a necessary extension of the balance that no longer comes naturally. He wears a heavy wool coat, dark, with large buttons his arthritic fingers can manage. The gloves are old, worn at the fingertips, but still warm enough. A knit cap covers his nearly bald head, leaving only tufts of white hair on the sides. He goes out every morning. Not for pleasure exactly, but for routine. Routine keeps the body moving, and a body in motion prevents the mind from dissolving into inertia. That's what he's learned over the years. Keep moving. Keep doing. Don't stop to think about how everything hurts, because everything always hurts after 90. The sound stops him before he sees it. It's a desperate scratching, an irregular splashing, something that doesn't belong in the frozen silence of morning. Thomas stops, his breath forming small clouds before his face. He turns his head slowly, sudden movements cost dearly in the knees, and looks toward the pond. His heart doesn't race. On the contrary, it slows, entering that controlled rhythm he knew decades ago, in places very far from this small town. In the water, about 15 feet from shore, a dog struggles to stay afloat. It's a medium-sized mutt, brown and matted coat, maybe 40 pounds. The front paws scratch at ice that won't yield, that won't break completely, just cracks and shifts under the futile weight. The animal is exhausted. That's visible even from a distance. Its movements are becoming slower, weaker. The water is stealing its heat, second by second, cell by cell. Thomas approaches the edge. He doesn't run. Running would be impossible and, besides, useless. He assesses the situation with the same cold precision he once used to evaluate hostile terrain. The ice extends irregularly from the bank, solid near land, thinner as it moves out. The water must be about 4 or 5 feet deep where the dog is trapped. Deep enough to drown, shallow enough to perhaps be reachable. If stories about quiet courage and real human choices move you, consider subscribing and sharing your thoughts in the comments. Your support helps keep these moments alive. He looks around. The path is empty. The nearest houses, 50 yards away, show dark windows. Nobody awake yet. No cars on the street. His phone is at home, on the kitchen table, where it always stays when he goes for walks. He doesn't like carrying unnecessary things. Pockets get heavy. Objects fall. Thomas considers his options. Walking back home would take 10 minutes, maybe 15 at his pace. Calling someone would take longer. The dog doesn't have 15 minutes, maybe not even 5. Its eyes are already beginning to glaze over, that distant look that precedes total surrender. He places the cane carefully on the ground, beside the trail. His breath comes out in rhythmic clouds. His knees protest as he lowers himself, first one, then the other, the joints creaking audibly in the silence. The pain is sharp but familiar. He learned long ago to separate sensation from action, to keep moving while the body screams to stop. Thomas lies flat on the frozen ground. The cold penetrates the coat immediately, biting through layers of clothing. He begins dragging himself across the ice, distributing his weight evenly, moving with his elbows and forearms. The ice groans beneath him, a low and sinister sound, but it holds. He moves inch by inch, each advance calculated. The dog sees him. It tries to swim in his direction, but its legs barely respond now. It's entering hypothermia, the body shutting down non-essential systems to preserve the core. Thomas knows this progression well. He saw men die from cold in battlefields 60 years ago. The body gives up before the mind. Always. He continues advancing. 10 feet. 8. The ice groans louder now. He stops, waiting for the sound to stabilize, for the surface to find a new equilibrium. His hands, even inside the gloves, are already beginning to go numb. He adjusts the angle, distributing weight differently, turning slightly to the left. Advances a few more inches. The gloved hand reaches the edge where ice meets open water. He extends his arm. 6 feet separate him from the dog. It's not enough. Thomas drags himself forward. The ice under his chest gives slightly, sinking but not breaking. Freezing water seeps over the edge, soaking the front of his coat. The shock is immediate and brutal, stealing the air from his lungs. He holds his breath, forces himself to breathe through his nose, controlled, measured. He extends his arm again. The coat sleeve plunges into the water. The cold is absolute, a physical pressure that squeezes each cell. His fingers find the dog's soaked fur. He closes his hand, gripping the coarse hair near the neck. The animal contracts, then relaxes, some deep instinct recognizing help when it sees it. Thomas pulls. The dog is heavy, much heavier than it looks, saturated with water and lethargic. He uses his free arm to anchor himself on the more solid ice, distributing the force. His shoulders scream in protest. The muscles, weak and atrophied by age, tremble with the effort. He pulls again, harder, using his core, his legs, every part that still responds. The dog slides a few inches toward him. The ice under Thomas groans loud, cracks spreading like spiderwebs. He doesn't stop. Can't stop now. He pulls once more, grunting low with the effort. The animal comes half out of the water, chest and front paws now on the ice. Thomas shifts position, beginning to drag himself backward. The movement is slow, painfully slow. Each inch requires total coordination. Pull the dog, push with the elbows, slide backward without breaking the ice that still supports them. The cold is stealing sensation from his hands now. He can barely feel his fingers, barely knows if he's still holding firm. He focuses on one thing. Keep moving. Don't think about the pain. Don't think about the cold. Don't think about the heart beating irregularly in his chest. Just continue. Pull, slide, pull, slide. The dog drags heavily behind him, a dead weight and cooperative at the same time. The ice under his chest groans violently. Thomas freezes, every muscle tense. The sound stabilizes. He waits 3 breaths, then continues. 2 feet to shore. 18 inches. 12. The dog's hind legs finally leave the water. Thomas feels the weight shift, become a bit more manageable. He minimally accelerates the pace, dragging both towards solid ground. 8 inches. 4. The bank appears under his elbows. Frozen earth. Solid. Wonderfully stable. He pulls the dog completely off the ice onto the hardened grass, then drags himself off, rolling to his side, off the ice, onto his back on the ground. The sky above is vast and indifferent, that same pale white. His breath comes out in irregular, ragged clouds. His chest burns. His hands are completely numb now, useless blocks hanging from his wrists. The dog lies beside him, shaking violently but alive, flanks rising and falling. Thomas closes his eyes for a moment. Just a moment. Just needs to catch his breath. But the cold is seeping deeper now, reaching the bones. Hypothermia. He knows the signs. Needs to move. Needs to seek shelter. But his body doesn't respond immediately. Footsteps. Quick, pounding hard on the gravel. A female voice, high with alarm. Thomas opens his eyes. A woman in running clothes, bright pink jacket, black leggings, stands over him, eyes wide. She already has her phone in hand, dialing. Her words are fast, urgent, directed at the phone. Emergency. Municipal pond. Elderly man. Dog. Possible hypothermia. She kneels, touching his shoulder. Her face is young, maybe 30, worried. She removes her own jacket and drapes it over him. The synthetic fabric is still warm from her body. Thomas tries to speak, but his jaw is too stiff. She tells him to stay quiet. That help is coming. Sirens in the distance. The sound grows, approaching. Thomas turns his head slightly, sees flashing lights on the street. An ambulance, A police car. Paramedics jump out, carrying equipment. Hands lift him, move him. He doesn't resist. Someone is wrapping the dog in something. An emergency thermal blanket, silver and crackling. They ask questions. Name: Thomas Hartwell. Age: 91. What happened? The dog was drowning, he answers simply. His voice sounds distant, even to his own ears. They wrap thermal blankets around him, check his pulse, his temperature. Someone comments that he was lucky. Thomas doesn't respond. The ride to the hospital is short. He floats, conscious but distant, observing everything from somewhere remote inside himself. Ceiling lights passing. Calm, professional voices. The regular beep of equipment. They warm him gradually, carefully. Rapid rewarming can cause shock. He knows that too. A doctor explains he has mild hypothermia. Low body temperature, but not dangerously so. Fingers and toes will hurt when sensation returns. There may be some residual numbness. Should stay under observation for a few hours. Thomas nods. When sensation actually returns, an hour later, maybe two, it's like liquid fire running through extremities. He clenches his teeth, makes no sound. The dog survives. Animal control takes it to a shelter where they warm it, feed it, examine it for injuries. No broken bones, no frostbite, just exhaustion and cold. A local news station runs a brief story. Veteran rescues dog from frozen pond. Details are scarce. Thomas refuses to give interviews when asked. The hospital releases him the next day. At home, Thomas sits in his chair by the window. His body aches in ways it hasn't in years. His shoulders throb continuously. His knees are swollen, stiff. He takes ibuprofen, drinks tea, watches the street outside. The pond is visible in the distance, still frozen, still gray. He thinks about the weight of the dog in his hands, the way the ice held just long enough. Days pass slowly. February arrives, bringing slightly higher temperatures. The ice on the pond begins to thin, to crack in complex patterns. Thomas resumes his morning walks, though he circles the pond now, keeping distance. His granddaughter calls, worried after seeing the news. He says he's fine. She offers to visit. He says it's not necessary. A week after the incident, a family adopts the dog from the shelter. They name it Lucky. Thomas finds out from a neighbor who stops to chat during a walk. The neighbor asks if he wants to meet the dog. Thomas considers, then politely declines. He doesn't need to. Knowing it's alive is enough. Life continues its rhythm. Thomas walks the same trails every morning, cane tapping on gravel, breath rising in clouds that disappear into the morning air. The cold gradually yields as March approaches. Green buds begin appearing on bare trees. One morning he sees the family with the dog. They're walking near the pond, now thawed, water dark and calm. The animal healthy and strong, pulling the leash with enthusiasm. The mother waves. Thomas raises his hand briefly in return. The dog doesn't recognize him. That's fine. He keeps walking. At night, when his body reminds him of what he put it through, he feels no regret. He sleeps deeply, dreamlessly, and wakes to another quiet morning in a town where winter finally releases its grip and spring prepares to arrive.